Well, good morning and welcome to our first thought for the day for 2024. It's Mark here and it is lovely to be with you. You know, Jesus was once asked a question. What is the greatest commandment? Well, Jesus responded, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbour as yourself. At the start of this new year, at a time when we might be drawn to reflect on our lives, it's probably a good time to remember that within this triad of love, that as well as love for God and love for others, there is love for ourselves. Perhaps far from being a puffed up arrogance, this is far more about learning to live in that security and that assurance of who we are. That part of our fundamental identity is that we are known and that we are loved by God. The American Lutheran pastor Nadia Bolz-Weber, she said, and which has particular relevance at the start of a new year, she says, there is no resolution that if kept will make you more worthy of love. You, as your actual self and not some made up ideal, are already worthy. There's a famous quote that goes along the lines of, comparison is the thief of joy. Now I know that I often fall into the trap of comparing myself with other people. You know, I wish I had the abilities of that person. I wish I had that body type. I wish I could speak so wisely and so articulately as that person. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with celebrating people who are talented, with admiring those characteristics in others that maybe we'd like to see more of in ourselves. Maybe it's a really good thing. It encourages us to grow. But at its worst and as its most destructive, it can rob us of something. That when we spend too much energy wondering who we should be, what we should look like, or what the lives we should be living should be, that we lose sight of the gift we are. The gift we are as the people God created when God created us. These thoughts reminded me of this short story. Once there was a great leader called Zeusia. And one day he came to his followers. His eyes were red, filled with tears. Zeusia, what's the matter? The people said to him. Why are you so troubled and frightened? Well, Zeusia said, the other day I had a vision. I learned the questions the angels will one day ask me about my life. Well, Zeusia's followers were puzzled. Zeusius, you are a pious and holy man. You've only ever done right by us. You're scholarly, you're humble. What question about your life could be so terrifying that you would be frightened to answer it? Zeusia turned his gaze to heaven. And he said, I have learned that the angels will not ask me. Why weren't you a Moses leading your people out of slavery? Well, Zeusia's followers looked at each other. They said, no, Zeusia, tell us, what is the question that they will ask you? Well, Zeusia sighed and said, I've learnt that the question they will not ask me is, why weren't you a Joshua leading your people into the promised land? Well, Zeusia's followers again looked confused till one stepped forward, put his hand on Zeusia's shoulder and said, "Zeusia, tell us, what is the question that they will ask you?" They will say to me, "Zeusia, there was only one thing that no power of heaven and earth could have prevented you from becoming." They will ask me, "Zeusia, why weren't you Zeusia?"